Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
22-year-old Jordan Spieth making a Saturday charge in his home state of Texas. A lot of circles on the scorecard. That's always a good thing, especially when it's moving day and you're in contention. We'll talk about Spieth quite a bit coming up as we take a look at the leaderboard after 3 rounds in Fort Worth. Jordan Spieth, a 65 on this day. Sure, a little disappointment after that bogey on 18, but he is at the top of the leaderboard at -12. Also a bit of a disappointing finish for Webb Simpson in the house at -11. Ryan Palmer looking for his first victory since 2010. Martin Pillar looking for his very first victory overall. With that, we say hello, Lisa Cornwell, Trip Eisenhower, Brian Bateman. Great to have you with us tonight on Golf Central. Brian, not the best driving day for Jordan Spieth, but he was able to hold it together with the irons.
He did not drive it well today. He only hit 4 fairways. But his iron play was good, but his short game was even better. He missed it in some spots today where it's very difficult to get up and down, and his putter really saved him. It seems like to me, Tripp, that his golf swing with his full swing with his driver just not as quite matched up like his iron swings are. He's very balanced, very in control with his iron swings. His driver just gets a little bit loose from the top, and his transition gets fast.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I tell you what, the short game, I mean, what he's doing this week around the greens, he doesn't necessarily need to hit a ton of greens, and he hasn't. But to go almost bogey-free today going into the 18th hole and hit a great putt on 18. It just stayed out. But Jordan Spieth, your leader, and I expect him to be a great front runner tomorrow.
Trending in the right direction, 67, 66, 65. LSU math. 64
tomorrow.
Pattern. Yes.
You sure that's LSU math? I don't know. Let's get to the highlights because there were plenty for Spieth starting at the par 3 4th trip.
Well, here's some math for you. 10 feet away, and 4 is a really hard hole right in the middle of the horrible horseshoe. And, well, that ball doesn't horseshoe at all. That's his second straight 2 on that hole in rounds 2 and 3.
Moves him to 9 under, 1 shot back now at the par 4 5th.
Had some trouble off the tee. 22 feet for par. Momentum.
Big time momentum, making that par save, stays at -9, now at the par 4 6.
Well, another fairway he missed to the right and pitched out to here after hitting the tree, and Jordan Spieth from 84 yards. Well, yeah, that is well done. That's going to leave easy work for 4, and he's going to stay at 9 under par.
Makes it easy to post a good number when your wedge play is that strong, now at the par 3 8th.
Just been beautiful from the bunkers all week long. Another pretty much stock bunker shot, uphill lie, 3 feet, saves par.
It's a reoccurring theme, saving par, saving par. Let's go to the par 4 9.
But this is not for par, Lisa. This is for birdie, 11 feet. He hadn't missed a putt in round 3 inside of 15 feet. Dead perfect inside of 15 feet. He's 10 under and your co-leader at the turn.
You stole my line. You can save that for me next time. Jordan out at number 10.
Long here and just an unbelievably difficult shot. Club face wide open. Really nowhere to land it, and he lands it in the only spot to get it close. Beautiful shot.
How great was that? Now let's see if he can salvage the par.
Well, this is about 8 feet away, and Jordan Spieth still perfect inside of 15 feet, and still 0 bogeys on the scorecard. And he stays 10 under.
And still your co-leader. Now at the par 5 11.
An indifferent approach here, leaves it just short of the green. He's trying to make this, obviously. It's just right in the middle, perfect speed. Nice birdie.
So this now ties the lead at -11. Let's go to 12.
Well, just the second fairway of the day in round number 3, and this 119 yards, and Jordan Spieth was 142nd from 50 to 125 yards on the PGA Tour this year. That's going to help that. That's a tap-in birdie.
How did that not go in? Takes a solo lead at -12. Spieth now at the par 4 14th, his 3rd from behind the green.
Some 30 yards over the green after catching a heater out of the rough. Almost impossible shot. And Tripp, he just flicks those hands, gets some speed with the club face, checks it up 3 feet.
And impressive with all the shadows, too, because that has to throw you off just a bit. Now the par 3 16th, this from 172.
Yep, a 9 iron. It said 9 iron. That's a 9 iron. And, well, par 3 back right hole location. And that's 6.5 feet. That's going to be his second closest approach shot of the day. And now for birdie. He's pretty good inside of 15 feet today. Yep. Jordan Spieth. Great birdie at 16.
Move him to 13 under and a 2-shot lead now. But after a yanked drive on the final hole, he had this with his second shot.
Just trying to chase it up the apron there. It looked like it came out a little higher than he wanted to, and it went through a few limbs and leaves himself some 30 yards short of the green. No bogeys on his card, still trying to keep the momentum, and really a difficult pitch shot here. Pins on the front, slope behind it. Can't really get too cute with it. It's a great shot that stops about 8 feet behind the hole.
So could we see him once again salvage par?
You would expect him to, yeah. And Jordan Spieth hits it right where he wants. He cannot believe that ball didn't break more to the right. And that's the first blemish on his scorecard in 29 holes.
So 3 birdies on his opening 9, 3 more on his back 9, but that bogey on 18 stings just a bit. Big number that stands out there, 4 out of 14. Brian, you have to think that's off the tee. You have to think that he will be focused on getting that number up there because it was better than that yesterday.
Yeah, he really struggled with his driver in the first round, but it was very windy. Yesterday he hit 10 of 14 fairways and felt like that his driver was in control, but today he was missing it both ways, and it just seemed like he was almost trying to do too much. And I feel like with his iron game as solid as it is, if he can just get it in the fairway and give himself some more chances, he won't be trying to maneuver himself out of the rough.
Was he sticking with that same sort of theory of trying to hit that right to left shot off the tee?
It looked like it, but look, I mean, the fairways are tough to hit at Colonial. I mean, usually it's right around 52, 53% is the average for the field for hitting the fairways, but really it was his short game and what Jordan Spieth did. And if we take a look at some of the up and downs that he made in round number 3, this is the 10th hole. You can't miss these greens long. You cannot do it unless your name is Jordan Spieth. That is fantastic right there. Just a great shot. That ball is so difficult to get close. And then, of course, the great putting that we saw last year, Jordan Spieth's got it going this week. So then 11, well, he's got an opportunity on the par 5s. You've got to take advantage of those. And Jordan Spieth, well, Morton takes advantage of it right there with a great chip in. And then this one at 14, we saw it in the highlight, and Brian talked about how he nipped it off the edge. That is how you use your bounce, ladies and gentlemen. There's very little divot there. That's not leading edge chipping. That's using the bounce. And when you look at his scrambling numbers this week, well, they stack up pretty doggone solid. That's right. First, he's only failed to get it up and down 2 times out of 15 opportunities. Jordan Spieth is 70th this year in scrambling on the PGA Tour. Last year, he was 4th. That's been the difference. It hasn't been the amount of birdies he's been making. He's making actually more birdies than he was last year. He led the tour at 4.5 birdies. He's making 4.7 birdies this year. But it's the bogeys, and the bogeys are coming with that short game, and that is in check this week. That's why I really like Jordan Spieth going into tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, what does he need to do to get this win? Just keep doing what he's doing. Maybe put it in the fairway a little more often. Take some of the pressure off of those iron game, because as we saw, some of the misses came from putting it in a little bit too much trouble. You can have tree trouble if you get off these fairways. Well, he did exactly what he had to do today. He's in the final group, trying to win at Colonial for the first time, trying to win in the home state of Texas for the first time, and he's still in the lead, still in the final group tomorrow, 5 under par. Great score. Yeah. With no fairway. With very little fairways. I mean, that shows the acumen of Jordan Spieth. Well, he'll definitely have the hometown crowd on his side and a little bit of pressure played in his home state of Texas. Jordan Spieth has had some Sunday struggles, though, so far this season. He entered the final round of the Byron Nelson in second place, just 2 shots back before falling down the leaderboard with a final round 74 the week prior. He didn't even make it to the weekend in the Players, and before that all happened, on the second 9 at Augusta, we all remember it, a quadruple bogey at the par 3 12 took him off the top of the leaderboard and derailed his chance to repeat with a closing 73. And while he did post a 2 under 70 Sunday in Houston, it wasn't enough to get him into contention. Spieth finished the week tied for 13th. So what will happen on Sunday at Colonial? Well, he's trying to change things just a bit. I mean, when you look at this season, he has not broken 70 in a final round since February at Pebble Beach. He's been under par just 1 time in his last 5 Sunday appearances. His final round scoring average last season, we can see the difference, almost 2 shots higher this season versus last. All right, let's take a look at some of the other contenders this week at Colonial. Trip starting with Kyle Reefers. Yeah, number 6. He was actually smoking hot in this stretch of the tournament right here, 119 yards away. And you birdie the difficult 5th, follow it up with a birdie at 6, and wow, he's going in the right direction. That would move him to 10 under. Reifers now at the par 4 9th. Beautiful shot here from 114 yards.
He is staring it down, Tripp. A lot of wedges on this golf course. Controls the distance, draws it back.
Controlling the spin, too, beautifully.
Birdie. Great shot.
Rifers would shoot a 67. He is at 10 under par. How about Webb Simpson? He hasn't won since Vegas in 2013. Here at number 11, the par 5.
And par 5 that's difficult to get to, over 600 yards, so you would expect to see Webb Simpson with a wedge in his hand, and, well, that's what Webb Simpson used to do with regularity, not so much the last couple of years.
He would make birdie there, move to -11. Simpson, after a bogey at 13, here at 14, is third out of the bunker.
And this is right after Jordan Spieth just chipped it gimme from over the green. You can see the emotion from Webb there, knowing he's got to keep pace with Jordan Spieth.
And he is doing that back at 11 under. Palmer now at the par 4 15th.
Yeah, he's just out for a little Saturday Nassau. That's it. He does that. You know, he's a member there. So, yeah, he does that in the Nassaus. He takes a lot of those guys' money. And, well, he keeps doing that. He might get the big check at the end of the week.
A kick in for birdie, moving him to -10. Palmer now at the par 3 16th.
You can see from the ball flight there. He likes to move the ball from right to left. Not a lot of curve in that shot, especially with the pin on the right-hand side. And it lands a couple of inches away, Tripp, to 4 feet. For another birdie.
These guys are throwing darts. Palmer now at 11 under. Here he is at 18, a 3-footer for birdie.
And he knows the way it breaks. It's just that right hand every now and then gets a little too active in his stroke, and he pulls some putts, and there it is on the 18th hole.
But he is still in very good shape to get his first win in quite some time. Back to Simpson at the par 4 17th.
Very narrow tee shot here where there's trees hanging out on both sides, but Webb goes right over the top of the right tree. From 141 yards, beautiful shot. Soft greens, holding, receptive. What a shot.
He would make that one move back to 12 under, one shot back at the time. Here he is at 18, still at -12. The co-leader, this is for par.
Yeah, and this is to get in the last group tomorrow with Jordan Spieth. And, well, the Matt Kuchar style of putting has been working this week, but not effective there.
So as we take a look at things heading into Sunday's final round, hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate. Jordan Spieth, the top of the leaderboard. Brian mentioned it earlier. He's trying to get his first professional victory in his home state of Texas, shooting a 5 under 65. Certainly will help those things as you try to seek that. Jordan Spieth, shortly after signing his scorecard, spoke with Scott Walker.
It's been progressively better every day for Jordan Spieth, and for you now, with the lead, this was really, it looked like it was more fun than any day that I've seen you in the last few. Talk about that fun factor, particularly after those birdies, those clutch birdies on 11 and 12.
Yeah, I feel like started to get the crowd maybe into it a little today, and fantastic crowds out here, just like they were last week. But I felt like I had more fun. You obviously have fun when you're playing well, but I felt like even when it wasn't going great, I mean, Michael even voiced it to me that he thought my attitude when a shot didn't go as planned was as good as it's been since the Masters, which kind of makes me forget about the one before, figure out how to get out of tough situations. And I was in a lot of tough situations today, and to be bogey free going into 18 was really solid given some of the up and downs we had. But also feel like I'm striking the ball well, so just try and stay consistent, try and really not change anything, and hopefully a few unders, a score we post tomorrow, and it's good enough.
With the conditions, though, it has to be a little bit more difficult and more firm. We're away from the rain. So with that, do you expect the golf course to get even tougher?
I think it'll play pretty similar to today, maybe a little bit tougher. The fairways are still softer than the first round, and there's less wind, so they're a little easier to hold. And then the greens are soft. You could throw it into these pins with a mid-iron and stick it. But they are small greens, and you do have to come out of the fairway, or else you're trying to judge flyers, and it's almost impossible to hit these greens when you're in the rough. So fairways are going to be key for me tomorrow to be able to put good aggressive swings on my iron shots.
Last week was your home game. This is very much Ryan Palmer's home game in the final group. What's the feeling going to be out there when you have really Colonial members who are going to be really pulling for him here in your area?
Yeah, sure. It'll be a lot of fun. I play. I would say if I play 10 practice rounds, I play 7 of them with Ryan Palmer. And so it'll be another day. It'll be a lot of fun. I know, we talk smack to each other every time we play together. I'm sure tomorrow will be no different. But yeah, it'll be an interesting situation given I feel like we have so much support, and it's Ryan's actual home game. So there'll be think everyone will be rooting for both of us to play well and an exciting finish. So we'll see what happens.
All right, good luck tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
They're talking smack. Too bad we can't mic them up. Love to listen to that. Our coverage of the Dean and DeLuca Invitational from historic Colonial Country Club continues tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on Golf Channel. It's also available streaming with Golf Live Extra. Masters champ Danny Willett struggled a bit Saturday after a strong start in the BMW PGA Championship. Can the Englishman regain his form in time for Sunday's final round at Wentworth Country Club? Highlights coming up. And after falling short several times during the peak of his golf career to win a major, Colin Montgomery hasn't had any trouble breaking through on the PGA Tour Champion's biggest stages. Monty's in good position for a three-peat in the Senior PGA Championship. We'll take you there next on Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Dean and DeLuca Invitational. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. Shipsticks, the largest golf bag shipping company in the world, simplifying the way you travel.